Guys, all of the Dubai trading influencers are gonna hate me for saying this, but they're lying to you. I did not start a side business, I did not invest in crypto, and I sure as hell did not take any dropshipping course. So how did I change my life? Well, let's take it back to the beginning. 10 years ago, I moved to London from Italy with no plan, no backup, and no real idea of how to change my life for the better. I was stuck in hospitality jobs, working in cafes, doing random freelance work, and I found myself always wanting more, but never actually making any real progress, until I changed 3 simple things. And in this video, I want to show you exactly what worked for me, without quitting my job, without starting a side hustle scam, without relying on luck or rich parents or any of that. So let's get into it. Number 1, I stopped dreaming about the perfect job and what I wished I could do, and I focused on what I was already good at and how can I make more money from that. Now that might sound obvious to you, but for me that was a huge step already. Number 2, I took control over my finances. So I finally stopped ignoring the debt that I had been accumulating for years. I fixed my credit score and I finally started budgeting. Number 3, I improved how I presented myself, how I carried myself, how I communicated, how I built relationships in my personal and in my professional life. But now let's break each one of these further. Going back to point 1, I was working in cafes, doing random freelance work, and I had no idea how to get out of that world. So instead of continuing dreaming about unrealistic jobs and envying my friends who were in creative roles, I had to be honest with myself. Now, what do I know best? Where do I have the most experience? And for me, that was coffee. I knew the products, I knew the equipment, I knew the industry, I had a great network within coffee, and I knew how to talk to people. I knew how to negotiate, I knew how to be liked, as weird and awkward as that sounds to say now, but that's the reality. So I had to ask myself, how can I utilize these same skills that have served me these past few years in a job that is gonna make me more money? So that's when I transitioned from working in cafes to working into sales. I utilized all of the experience and transferable and relevant skills I had built in years of hospitality to get into sales within the coffee world. Because I realized that my product knowledge and my communication skills could actually make me some real money there. So how exactly did you do that, you might be wondering? Well, first, I applied to every single sales role I could find within coffee or the hot beverage industry. I tailored my application, I tailored my cover letter, and I landed finally my first sales job. And that's where everything changed for me. Number 2, finances. One of the biggest things that held me back was debt, money, or the lack of, to be honest. I had debt that I had ignored for years, my credit score was awful, and I had no actual idea where my money was going every single month. So I forced myself to look at every single little thing. I looked at my debt, my spending, my habits, and instead of continuing hoping to have some money left at the end of the month, I built a real plan. Now, one of the biggest shifts for me from a mindset perspective was starting to think long term. Things like doing your monthly grocery shop instead of going to Sainsbury's every day, starting budgeting and tracking my spending. And within a couple of years, I had paid off my debt and fixed my credit score and finally took control over my life and my finances. Initially, it wasn't about making more money. It was about doing more with what I already had. Number 3, how you present yourself. Now, you can have the best skills in the world, the best experience, you can have all of the knowledge on earth, but if you don't know how to carry yourself, it won't matter. So I worked on how I present myself to the world every day. I started dressing better. Better doesn't mean more expensive, it just means putting more effort in what you're doing. Iron that shirt, but make sure that the way you present yourself is the best expression of what you want to convey to the other person. So I practice how I spoke in interviews, meetings, and even in everyday conversations. I stopped making myself small and I learned how to communicate so that the person in front of me would take me seriously. Because confidence isn't just about feeling good. It's about knowing how to navigate life, knowing how to build relationship and create better opportunities for yourself. And that for me was a game changer. As soon as I started being more intentional about the way I carried myself, everything else started to shift as well. So what actually happens when you start applying these three simple things? Well, first of all, you start moving up in your career. You're now confident in your existing skills, you understand them, you know how to speak and relate to senior leadership members, and you know how to present yourself. Second of all, you start making better decisions for your life, and that applies to all areas of your life. Your love life, your career, your friendships, everything. You start living with more intention instead of being passive to the things that are happening to you. And lastly, you're not feeling stuck anymore. I went from working in a cafe, barely making ends meet, to working in sales, having a better salary, winning and managing big accounts, managing P&Ls. And the best thing is that I did all of this without doing anything crazy. Without quitting my job, without investing in crypto, without moving to Dubai, without any of this. And you can do it too. I just made simple, small decisions that actually changed my life over time. But this is just the start. So if you want to know exactly how I transitioned into sales, started making more money, started investing, then this is the channel for you. I'm going to share here everything that has worked for me personally and the rest of my journey, because it's the beginning for me as well. So make sure to like and subscribe for the next video.